John Dee represents one of the most multifaceted and enigmatic figures of the Elizabethan era, encapsulating the confluence of alchemical practice, mathematical theory, philosophical inquiry, mystical exploration, and political advisory roles. His life and works reflect the intellectual landscape of Renaissance Europe, wherein the distinctions between science, magic, and religion were permeable, enabling a vibrant synthesis of knowledge domains. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's presentation from the Quarries, an archive of Masonic lore. This presentation endeavours to deliver a comprehensive overview of Dee's biography, his contributions to both scientific and occult traditions, and the broader implications of his influence on Elizabethan England and subsequent intellectual history. An audience conversant with esoteric traditions and Renaissance philosophy will find Dee's role as a pivotal bridge between medieval mysticism and the burgeoning rationalism of early modern science particularly compelling. Early life and education. John Dee was born on the 13th of July 1527 in London to Roland Dee, a mercer by trade, and Jane Wilde. Immersed in the bustling mercantile environment of London, Dee's formative years were marked by exposure to a diverse spectrum of intellectual currents and commercial activity. His formal education began at St John's College, Cambridge, where Dee demonstrated an extraordinary dedication to his studies, reportedly devoting up to 18 hours a day to mastering mathematics, mechanics, and the classical works of Euclid. This foundational period not only established Dee's scholarly rigour, but also imbued him with an enduring passion for discovering the divine structure of the cosmos. Dee's lectures at the University of Paris on Euclid's Elements garnered substantial attention, elevating him to the status of a rising intellectual figure. His pursuit of knowledge soon extended beyond mathematics, as he embraced astrology and Hermetic philosophy, fields through which he sought a deeper, more mystical understanding of the universe's architecture. It is through this synthesis of the rational and the mystical that Dee's intellectual odyssey was forged, one that would define his life's work. Mathematics and scientific contributions. Dee's contributions to Renaissance thought are notably evident in his mathematical and scientific endeavours. His mathematical preface to the English translation of Euclid's Elements of 1570 was revolutionary in its attempt to make advanced mathematics accessible to a broader demographic, including artisans and craftsmen, and not merely scholars. Dee underscored the significance of mathematics as the ground and key of all other sciences, portraying it as a sacred language through which the mysteries of nature could be deciphered and understood. He articulated this vision when he wrote,
"Mathematical science is the fountain of wholesome knowledge, and also the key which openeth the gate to the great treasures of philosophy."
This emphasis on mathematics as both a practical tool and a metaphysical key placed Dee at the forefront of an intellectual movement that sought to bridge the gap between theoretical abstraction and empirical application. Dee envisioned mathematics as a means of unlocking the secrets of both the macrocosm and the microcosm, thus aiding in the comprehension of the divine order of creation. His advocacy for the application of mathematical knowledge extended to astronomy and navigation, domains central to Elizabethan England's maritime ambitions. Dee's treatise, General and Rare Memorials Pertaining to the Perfect Art of Navigation, of 1576, was an influential text that both advocated for the expansion of English naval power and also introduced the term the British Empire into political discourse. His intellectual contribution provided the practical scaffolding for Elizabethan explorers like Martin Frobisher, who embarked on voyages with Dee's navigational insights and theoretical backing. Beyond theoretical exposition, Dee played an active role in the material preparation for these expeditions, working closely with Gerard Mercator and other cartographers to enhance the accuracy of world maps, thereby enhancing the navigational capabilities that would facilitate England's emergence as a dominant maritime power. Dee also made significant contributions to astronomy, an area that was critical to both his intellectual pursuits and the practical needs of navigation. He worked extensively with astronomical tables and ephemerides, seeking to refine the precision of astronomical observations. His correspondence with astronomers such as Tycho Brahe reflects his active engagement with contemporary developments in the field. Dee's commitment to observational accuracy and his belief in the integration of astronomy with astrology underscored his view of the heavens as a reflection of divine order, a cosmic clock whose understanding was crucial to both temporal navigation and metaphysical insight. Alchemy, the Angelic Conversations, and Magical Practices. Alchemy was central to Dee's intellectual and spiritual life. Yet, for Dee, alchemy transcended the mere physical transformation of base metals into noble ones. It was an allegory for the transformation and purification of the human soul. Dee believed that through alchemical processes, practitioners could attain insight into divine wisdom, thus uniting the material and immaterial realms. His collaboration with Edward Kelly, a scryer, epitomized this commitment to uncovering esoteric truths. Together, Dee and Kelly sought the Philosopher's Stone, symbolizing both literal and metaphysical transformation. Dee's alchemical writings reflect his belief in the interconnectedness of all matter and spirit. He saw alchemy not only as a process of material refinement, but as a symbolic journey of self-purification and enlightenment. As Dee himself wrote,
"The philosopher's task is to refine both metal and spirit, for in the purification of the former lies the purification of the latter."
Dee's alchemical endeavours were thus intimately linked to his broader metaphysical outlook, in which all material phenomena were seen as outward manifestations of underlying spiritual realities. Enochian magic and the angelic conversations. At the core of Dee's magical practices were his angelic conversations, an extensive series of communications with entities that Dee and Kelly perceived as celestial beings. Conducted through the use of a shoe stone, a polished crystal used for scrying, these sessions involved Kelly as the medium through whom the angels would convey their messages, while Dee meticulously transcribed each word. The angels provided Dee with an entire corpus of spiritual teachings, including what he came to call the Enochian language, which Dee believed was the original language spoken by humanity in the Garden of Eden. Dee wrote,
"The light of this knowledge shall pierce all mysteries, revealing that which is hidden."
demonstrating his conviction that these communications offered profound truths that could unveil the hidden mechanisms of the universe. The Enochian language itself was composed of an alphabet and syntax that, according to Dee, could facilitate direct communication with angels, thus granting insight into divine realities. The angels provided Dee with sigils, magical squares, and elaborate invocations, all of which became integral to the practice of Enochian magic. The Enochian system represents a significant facet of Dee's legacy, embodying his desire to transcend the corporeal and access the divine. It involved intricate ritual protocols, detailed in texts like the Liber Logaeth, which Dee described as the Book of Speech from God. The Liber Logaeth contained 49 tables of complex symbols that served as conduits for accessing the angelic wisdom. Dee wrote,
"These symbols are the keys to the celestial spheres, granting those who comprehend them the power to ascend."
These rituals and incantations aimed at facilitating enlightenment and invoking divine intervention were inherently controversial, ultimately contributing to Dee's perception as both a scholar and a figure of occult power. Among the most contentious aspects of these angelic sessions was the instruction that Dee and Kelly were to share their wives, a directive that not only tested Dee's moral fortitude, but also indicated the extent to which he was willing to surrender to perceived divine authority. The influence of the Enochian system extended well beyond Dee's lifetime, profoundly affecting later occult movements, particularly the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. These groups saw in Dee's angelic invocations a pathway to unlocking deeper spiritual truths, thereby cementing Dee's reputation as a foundational figure in the Western esoteric tradition. Aleister Crowley, a prominent figure in modern occultism, later wrote,
"The keys of Enoch given to Dee are the doorways through which we may glimpse the divine order of the cosmos."
The Monas Hieroglyphica. Dee's publication of Monas Hieroglyphica in 1564 stands as a testament to his attempt to synthesize all branches of knowledge into a single, coherent framework. The Monas is a cryptic treatise centered on a singular glyph, the monad, which Dee posited as the symbolic representation of the unity of the cosmos. Dee wrote,
"The monad is that through which we shall illuminate the mysteries of all the sciences."
Illustrating his belief that the symbol encapsulated the interconnectedness of astrology, alchemy, geometry, and Kabbalah. The work is structured around 24 theorems, each delving into different aspects of the monad, with the intention of elucidating its role as the key to understanding the relationship between the macrocosm and the microcosm. By combining elemental and celestial symbols, such as those of the sun, moon, and zodiac, Dee sought to convey the intrinsic harmony of the cosmos and the unity that underpins all natural and supernatural phenomena. The Monas Hieroglyphica is emblematic of Dee's broader intellectual ambition, the aspiration to create a universal science that unifies the physical and metaphysical worlds into a singular epistemological system. Dee wrote in Theorem 18,
"Within the monad lies the essence of all elements, and through its understanding we touch the very fabric of creation."
This statement exemplifies his belief in the monad as the ultimate key to unlocking the secrets of nature and the divine. Dee's Monas Hieroglyphica was not merely a theoretical exercise, but also a practical tool for those initiated into his mysteries. Although its esoteric symbolism rendered it opaque to many of his contemporaries, it held great influence over later alchemists, mystics, and Rosicrucians, who viewed the monad as a representation of the alchemical process of unification and enlightenment. Dee as political advisor and spy. Dee's intellectual pursuits were inextricably linked with his role as a political advisor and intelligence operative for Queen Elizabeth I. As an advisor, Dee was entrusted with significant responsibilities, including selecting the date for Elizabeth's coronation based on astrological calculations. However, his influence extended well beyond the realm of astrology. Dee was a key figure in shaping Elizabethan foreign policy, and his extensive travels across Europe were often undertaken under the guise of scholarly exploration, whilst also serving as covert intelligence missions. It has been speculated that Dee's code name, 007, a moniker later immortalised by Ian Fleming, reflected his secretive role within Elizabeth's intelligence apparatus. Dee's espionage involved diplomatic correspondence and the establishment of contacts with influential figures across Europe, including within the courts of the Holy Roman Empire and Poland. His ability to gather information that was critical to England's geopolitical interests was reinforced by his mastery of cryptography, a skill that extended from his mathematical expertise to his mystical practices. The use of angelic symbols and ciphers in his communications suggests that Dee's occult knowledge was not merely theoretical, but was applied to practical ends, thereby blending his scholarly pursuits with the exigencies of Elizabethan statecraft. Dee's political involvement was motivated not only by loyalty to the crown, but also by his vision of a powerful, spiritually enlightened England. He wrote,
"An empire founded on divine wisdom and the pursuit of knowledge shall never falter."
The ideal of an enlightened empire informed Dee's approach to statecraft, wherein knowledge, both scientific and esoteric, was seen as the cornerstone of political power and stability. Interactions with European intellectuals. Dee's intellectual network extended across Europe, encompassing some of the foremost thinkers of his time. His interactions with Gerard Mercator, Tycho Brahe, and other leading figures were instrumental in shaping his work, particularly in the fields of astronomy and cartography. Dee's collaboration with Mercator, for example, was crucial in enhancing his understanding of geography and producing more sophisticated maps, which were essential to the success of England's maritime ventures. Dee's relationship with Tycho Brahe exemplifies the interconnected nature of Renaissance intellectual pursuits. Both men were deeply engaged with astronomy, yet their inquiries were not confined to empirical observation. They were also deeply influenced by astrological and Hermetic traditions. Dee's ability to traverse these overlapping domains of inquiry allowed him to serve as a bridge between the scientific and mystical elements of Renaissance thought. His correspondence and interactions with these intellectuals facilitated the dissemination of new astronomical ideas and fostered a broader intellectual exchange that contributed to the development of early modern science. His presence at the court of the Emperor Rudolf II, a known patron of alchemists and astrologers, further reflects Dee's prominent status within the European intellectual milieu. Rudolf's court, with its eclectic blend of science, magic, and the arts, was a natural environment for Dee's polymathic interests. His time spent there illustrates the extent to which Dee was respected as a mediator of knowledge across different cultural and intellectual contexts during a transformative period in European history. Decline and legacy. Despite his early prominence, Dee's fortunes waned during the latter years of his life. Upon his return from the continent, he discovered that his residence in Mortlake had been looted, and his extensive library, one of the largest private collections in England, had been largely destroyed. The loss of this repository of knowledge was a devastating blow to Dee, whose intellectual work relied heavily on his access to rare texts and manuscripts. The political climate had also shifted. Elizabeth I's death in 1603 marked a turning point, as James I ascended to the throne with far less tolerance for esoteric practices. Dee found himself marginalised, his appeals for patronage ignored. He spent his final years in obscurity, attempting to secure positions that would allow him to continue his work, but without success. The culmination of these setbacks left Dee impoverished, and he died largely forgotten by the scholarly community to which he had once contributed so significantly. Yet Dee's intellectual legacy persisted. His vision of a unified science that integrated mathematics, alchemy, astrology, and Hermetic philosophy prefigured the broader epistemological shifts that would characterize the scientific revolution. Isaac Newton, who shared Dee's fascination with alchemy, was among those influenced by Dee's integration of empirical and esoteric traditions. Dee's influence is also evident in the evolution of Western esotericism, particularly within the Rosicrucian and Hermetic traditions, both of which drew heavily on Dee's writings and his concept of angelic communication. Dee's contributions to navigation and the conceptualization of the British Empire were equally enduring. His advocacy for maritime expansion and his contributions to the practical art of navigation laid the foundation for England's subsequent colonial enterprises. Dee's belief in the transformative power of knowledge that could serve both the state and the individual's spiritual advancement, epitomized the Renaissance ideal of the polymath and prefigured the values that would later drive the Enlightenment. Conclusion. John Dee's life serves as a testament to the intricate interplay between science, magic, and politics in Renaissance Europe. His quest for universal knowledge, which aimed to bridge the material and the divine, encapsulates the intellectual spirit of an era that had yet to demarcate the boundaries between different fields of inquiry rigidly. Dee's mathematical contributions informed the scientific developments of his time, while his alchemical and magical practices left an indelible mark on Western esotericism. By examining Dee's life in its entirety, his scientific achievements, his occult endeavours, his political involvement, and his interactions with Europe's leading intellectuals, we gain a more profound appreciation of a figure whose pursuit of knowledge was as boundless as it was ambitious. John Dee remains emblematic of the Renaissance ambition to comprehend the cosmos in its totality. His synthesis of science, magic, and statecraft reveals a worldview wherein the pursuit of knowledge was not merely an academic exercise, but a transformative endeavour to both the individual and society at large. Dee's enduring legacy lies in his vision of a unified body of knowledge, one that transcended disciplinary boundaries and laid the foundations for future generations to explore the mysteries of both the natural and the supernatural worlds. For a deep dive into the history, philosophy, and traditions of Freemasonry, subscribe to From the Quarries. You will find hundreds of lectures, presentations, shorts, and other Masonic works written by Freemasons, for Freemasons. visit fromthequarries.com or YouTube @FromTheQuarries.